morning, Bucknutters. Welcome into the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Monday, November 9th, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I am happy to be joined by our Alex Gleitman. Alex, let's talk about the Minnesota game from a couple nights ago, as much as we don't want to. Very sluggish performance from the Buckeyes. They did emerge victorious, 28-14. I was disappointed in Cardale Jones's play. I was disappointed in the play calling from the coaches. I was disappointed in the energy of the team in general. What were your thoughts on the game, Alex?
Yeah, Dave, I definitely think you hit a few points there. I mean, first off, let's just say a win's a win. I mean, especially when you're quarterback, I want to say starting quarterback, in my opinion, the guy who clearly has been playing, the team has been playing better when JT Barrett's behind center. He's up in the press box watching the game because he's suspended. So you take the win and you move on. I'd like to say, I think starting with the positives, I thought the defense was absolutely outstanding. I mean, Minnesota scored some points late in the game, but anyone who watched that game, saw an outstanding Silver Bullets defense. Great, maybe the best performance of the year by the defensive line, and especially props to Michael Hill and Joel Hale, Tracy Sprinkle, some of the other guys who rotated in for the injured Tommy Shutt. I thought they played fantastic. So that's on a positive note. On a more negative note, as you said, Cardale Jones just he continued his inconsistent play this year. I think at this point, this is Cardale Jones. There is no getting Cardale from the last three games of the season last year back. This is who he is this year, whether it's because he's pressing to try to impress NFL scouts, whether it's because he's being put in a position, in a scheme that's not really fit for his skill set, which I think is a big part of it. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Missing open receivers, just not getting rid of the ball when he needed to, not going through his progressions and his reads. So I put part of the blame on Cardale, part of the blame on the Ohio State coaching staff for not putting him in a position to succeed. So overall, you take the win. The defense played great. Cardale was inconsistent, which is why the offense was inconsistent. But, you do have Ezekiel Elliott, who ran for another 100-yard game. And Von Bell helped out with a pick six. So Buckeyes win, and you move on. You're 9-0, you're 9-0, and you try to win the last three games here.
We're going to chat with Urban Meyer today around 11:45 a.m. I'm sure this is a question he will be asked many times in different ways. Will JT Barrett get his job back right away? I'll ask you, Alex Gleitman, will JT Barrett get his starting job back right away? Will he start this week against Illinois?
At first, I was leaning toward no. I was thinking if Cardale, I thought he'd play a little bit better, Cardale, and I thought maybe Urban would start Cardale, play him the first series against Illinois, and then bring in JT. But I think at this point, you kind of have to throw all that out the window. Illinois is actually playing much better than at least I expected them to heading into the season. I believe they're 5-4 now. Ohio State opened up actually at only 16-point favorites on the road and in the wind tunnel that is Memorial Stadium in Champaign-Urbana. So I think this game is going to be a little bit more challenging. Ohio State needs to win. I think more importantly, they need to get into that offensive groove they had against Rutgers and when JT was in against Penn State before they take on Michigan State at home and go on the road to Ann Arbor to face that team up north. So I think JT Barrett does get the start against Illinois, and I think the Ohio State offense will return to where we thought it was going a couple of games ago.
I agree with you. I do think JT is going to get the job back. And I also agree with you. Originally, I thought that Cardale would start against Illinois because I thought he'd play better than he did against Minnesota a couple nights ago. But I thought JT would play very early in the Illinois game regardless. But now I'm going to go, even further. I'm with you on that. I think JT is going to start the game. I think Urban's not even going to mess with it. He knows who his favorite quarterback is, who the best quarterback is for this team. And I do expect JT Barrett to start against Illinois. If for some reason he does not, he's going to enter early in the game. If Cardale does start, I look for JT to enter second series, third series at the very latest. Tomorrow night, the second college football playoff rankings will be released. Let's give predictions on what we think the committee is going to do tomorrow night. Alex, I'll let you go first. How do you think they're going to rank these teams 1 through 4?
Well, I think they're going to keep Clemson at number 1. They had them 1 last week. And while I didn't think Clemson was particularly impressive against Florida State, they still, it's a tough game against a ranked ACC team. I'll keep Clemson number 1. I think they're going to jump Ohio State with Alabama, beating LSU and beating them pretty handily. They did a great job shutting down Leonard Fournette. So I'll have Alabama, not me, I guess I think the committee is going to put Alabama at number 2 tomorrow night. I think they'll keep Ohio State at 3. I think, the human factor of having a committee is nice because I think they realize, well, number 1, Ohio State's the defending champs with a lot of talent back. On paper, they're at least better than last year's team. But they also realized that Ohio State wasn't playing with JT Barrett against the Gophers. So I don't think they'll hold that against them. I think they'll keep them in that 3 spot at 9-0. And then I think in the 4 spot, they're going to put Oklahoma State. I think that was a huge statement win against TCU. A lot of people, myself included, did not think Oklahoma State was for real. They are undefeated right now. A lot of people don't know that. I don't think that will hold true through the end of the year, but they're better than people think. Mike Gundy's one of the more underrated coaches in America. I think that the committee will have Oklahoma State 4, probably followed by Notre Dame and Stanford at 5 and 6.
I agree with you. I thought I was going to be the surprise with Oklahoma State at 4th, but 2 OSUs in the top 4. I agree with you. Clemson's definitely going to stay number 1. They were number 1 last week. They beat Florida State. Huge win for them. That was really their biggest game of the season. I think now they're just going to waltz into the college football playoff. Anything can happen. I shouldn't say waltz into the playoff, but things are looking good for Clemson, I'll say that. I also agree. I think Alabama is going to jump from 4th to 2nd, yet LSU at number 2. Alabama just completely waxed LSU, and I think Alabama's going to jump Ohio State and move into that number 2 spot. I look for the Buckeyes to stay at number 3, like you said, and I look for Oklahoma State to move into that 4th spot. It's going to be interesting. It won't shock me if the committee puts Notre Dame in there. They had Notre Dame 5th. Notre Dame's only lost to the number 1 team in the nation, but I think the committee is going to put Oklahoma State ahead of Notre Dame just because Notre Dame does have the loss. Oklahoma State's undefeated, and Oklahoma State looked great against TCU. I never expected Oklahoma State would blow out TCU like they did. So you and I are in lockstep on that, Alex. One more topic before I let you go. It's interesting. It seems I'm guilty of this as well. It seems like we always want to break down what's wrong with Ohio State and what can they do better and why isn't this working out? What's going on with this and that? And then you stop and think about it. Since Urban Meyer has been hired, he's coached 50 games. They're 47-3 in those games. They have a national championship. I mean, it's amazing. I feel like Buckeye fans need to stop and smell the roses, and I'm as guilty as anybody, but I feel like people need to stop and smell the roses here. It's not going to get any better than what it is right now. 47-3. Yeah, you'd like to see the Buckeyes play better and like to see them look like a juggernaut every week, but my goodness, you really have to take a step back when you see 47-3, Alex, over the first 50 games for Urban Meyer.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I didn't even realize he coached 50 games at this point. It's gone so fast. But 47-3 is absolutely remarkable. I think more great things are ahead with Ohio State under Urban Meyer. I think fans really need to take a step back, and enjoy it. But I do understand, there is, even when Jim Tressel was the coach, even the year, I don't want to say I think everyone the year that where Fickle kind of took over in that interim role, everyone kind of gave them a pass. Whatever happened. But even in the Tressel years, I mean, it's just Ohio State fans. They're always looking. There's a standard of excellence, which to me, as a media member, as a fan, I think that's what you should always be striving for, a standard of excellence. I think sometimes people are a little bit too hard on players or coaches and things of that nature. A lot of things are easier said than done for those couch coaches. But it's really incredible what Ohio State has done. I think fans it's more so that they don't want this to end. And so if there's any crack, I mean, the way, the offense has been stagnant at times this year, or the way teams have gassed Ohio State up the middle with the run game, whether that be the quarterback or the running back, I think they're scared that this is going to end, and they don't want this to end. And so they're looking for any little, crack in the pipes, where a mistake could happen. And I truly do believe Ohio State is its own worst enemy this year. I think they can only get in their own way. I think if they lose a game, it's going to be because I don't think it's going to be because someone was better toe-to-toe with them. I think it's going to be because they make mistakes and shoot themselves in the foot and have penalties and not convert in the red zone touchdowns and things like that or miss field goals. I think that's really going to be it. So, all that said, it's really incredible what Urban Meyer's done in Columbus during his 3.5-year stint at this point.
Great stuff out of Alex Gleitman, as always. A couple programming notes. Again, we will talk to Urban Meyer today at 11:45 a.m. We'll interview Urban Meyer. We will interview a couple of assistant coaches and a few players to look for stories, bolts, and videos, what Coach Meyer, the assistant coaches, and the players have to say. And we'll also have a very interesting note on Tommy Shutt in today's boarding house, some encouraging news on defensive tackle Tommy Shutt. Make sure you check that out in today's boarding house. If for some reason you are not a Bucknut subscriber, what a great time to sign up. We have an amazing deal that's going to run out next Friday. You buy 1 month for $9.95. You get 2 months free. It takes you all the way through signing day. That is 3 months of Bucknuts for just $9.95. Make sure you take advantage of that while it still lasts. Thanks again to Alex Gleitman, and thanks to you, the listener, for tuning into the show. I appreciate it and hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.